The night was quiet at the Global Space Defense Center. Dr. Han Doyen rubbed his tired eyes as he stared at the screen. For 5 years he had worked on this early warning system. Most people thought it was a waste of money. "No aliens are coming," they said. "We have real problems on Earth." But tonight his screen showed something that made his heart stop. "This can't be right," he whispered. The system detected thousands of objects appearing near Jupiter. They moved in perfect formation. No natural objects moved like that. No human spacecraft moved like that either. Dr. Han pressed the emergency button. Red lights flashed across the building. Within minutes, the room filled with sleepy scientists and military officers. "What's happening?" asked Captain Song Mina, as she rushed to his side. Her uniform was wrinkled, like she had just thrown it on. "Look." Dr. Han pointed to the screen. They appeared out of nowhere, thousands of them, moving toward Earth. Captain Song's face went pale. "How long until they reach us?" "At their current speed, about 6 hours." The room grew silent as everyone stared at the screen. Humans had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer, and it was terrifying. Aboard the Imperial flagship Eternal Dominance, Grand Admiral Taejo looked at the blue planet on the main screen. His four-fingered hand tightened around his command staff. "Another primitive world, to add to the glory of the Dorani Empire," he said to the bridge crew. His scaled skin shimmered under the ship's lights. "The humans have detected us, Admiral," reported an officer. "Their primitive radar systems are tracking our approach." Taejo smiled, showing sharp teeth. "Good. Let them see their doom coming. It adds to their terror." He turned to Commander Jiwoo, his most trusted officer. She stood tall and proud, her service medals glinting on her chest. "Commander, prepare to send the standard message of surrender." "Give them our usual terms." Commander Jiwoo bowed her head. "Yes, Admiral. Shall I lead the diplomatic team?" "Yes, though I doubt diplomacy will be needed for long. Humans are fragile creatures. Our intelligence suggests they will surrender quickly." Commander Jiwoo nodded and left the bridge. As she walked to her shuttle, she reviewed what the Empire knew about humans. They were divided into many nations. They fought among themselves, constantly. Their technology was centuries behind the Empire. Their weapons would be useless against Imperial shields. This would be an easy conquest. Another day's work for the glory of the Empire. The emergency meeting of the United Nations was chaos. On screens around the world, people watched as their leaders argued and panicked. "We should surrender immediately," shouted one leader. "Look at those ships. They could destroy us all." "We should fight," yelled another. "We will not become slaves." In the corner of the room, Dr. Han and Captain Song watched silently. They had been flown to New York to report what they knew, which wasn't much. The Secretary General raised her hands for quiet. "Please, we must stay calm." Just then, every screen in the room changed. Every TV channel, every computer, every phone around the world showed the same image. A humanoid figure with scaled skin and large eyes. "People of Earth," said Commander Jiwoo in perfect English. "I am Commander Jiwoo of the Dorani Empire. We have come to add your world to our glorious empire." The room fell silent. "Your planet is now under Imperial control. Your technology is primitive. Your military forces are weak. Resistance would only lead to unnecessary deaths." Commander Jiwoo's face showed no emotion as she continued. "You have 2 options. Accept Imperial rule and live as productive citizens of the Empire, or resist and be destroyed. You have 6 Earth hours to surrender formally. After that time, we will demonstrate our power." The screens went black. Then panic erupted again. Dr. Han turned to Captain Song. "Did you notice anything strange about that message?" Captain Song frowned. "Like what?" "It was too perfect. The language, the timing. How did they learn English? And why address the whole planet at once instead of targeting our leaders privately first?" Captain Song's eyes widened. I think they know less about us than they pretend to. They made a show of strength because that's all they have right now. 3 hours later, the Security Council reached a decision. The Secretary General addressed Commander Jiwoo through an emergency broadcast channel. Commander Jiwoo of the Durrani Empire, we have received your message. Earth's nations request 3 days to prepare proper surrender protocols and organize our world leadership for transition. We are a divided planet with many governments. We need time to create a unified response. In the flagship, Commander Jiwoo looked surprised. She turned to her cultural advisor. Is this normal for primitive worlds? The advisor checked his data. Unusual, but not unprecedented. Divided planets often need time to organize their surrender. Commander Jiwoo considered this. 3 days seemed excessive, but what harm could it do? The humans couldn't possibly threaten the Imperial fleet. Very well, she replied to the transmission. You have 3 days. But any sign of military preparation will be met with immediate force. The transmission ended. Commander Jiwoo returned to the bridge to report to Grand Admiral Taejo. 3 days? Taejo laughed. How amusing. These humans think time will help them. Should we grant their request? Admiral? Asked Commander Jiwoo. Taejo waved his hand dismissively. Let them have their 3 days. Position our fleet in standard conquest formation. Prepare landing parties for major population centers, and select a small, uninhabited island for our demonstration strike at the end of their waiting period. Yes, Admiral. Oh, and Commander, monitor their communications closely. I doubt they'll try anything foolish, but it's best to be certain. Back on Earth, the real work began. In a secure underground facility, Dr. Han connected his computer to a special network. On the screen, faces appeared from around the world. Scientists, military strategists, and technology experts from every nation. We've analyzed the alien transmission, Dr. Han said. There's something interesting about how they broadcast their message. He pulled up complex data patterns. They used our own satellite network against us, but in doing so, they exposed parts of their communication technology. They're using a form of quantum encryption, but it has patterns we might exploit. Captain Song stepped forward. We believe they might not understand Earth as well as they think. Their message showed no knowledge of our various cultures or languages. They treated us as a single entity. How does that help us? Asked a general from Russia. It means they might be making other wrong assumptions about us, Dr. Han explained. Their ships emit unusual radiation patterns. We're already working on ways to disrupt them. From South Korea, a young man with messy hair joined the conversation. I'm Kim Junho. Until last week, I designed video games. Now I'm analyzing their fleet movements. He showed 3D models of the alien ships. Their formations are too perfect, too mathematical. There's no creativity, no adaptation. They rely on their technology, not tactical thinking. Captain Song nodded. We have 3 days before they expect our surrender. That's 3 days to find weaknesses, to prepare, to show them that humans don't surrender easily. The faces on the screen looked doubtful, scared. But one by one they nodded. Dr. Han looked at the data streaming across his screen. The odds were terrible. The alien technology was far advanced. But humans had something the Empire didn't seem to understand: desperation, creativity, and a stubborn refusal to give up. Let's get to work, he said. We have a planet to save. In orbit, Commander Jiwoo watched Earth's night side glitter with city lights. Soon those cities would belong to the Empire. Just another conquest in the Empire's long history. She had no idea that down below, humanity was preparing to change that history forever. The Empire came to end Earth. We expected immediate human surrender. The first day of Earth's 3-day grace period was almost over. Dr. Han Doyen had not slept in 30 hours. His eyes burned as he studied the data from the alien ships. Beside him, Captain Song Mina handed him another cup of coffee. Drink, she ordered. You need to stay awake. Dr. Han took the cup with shaking hands. I think I found something, he said. Look at these energy readings from their ships. Captain Song leaned closer to the screen. The readings showed spikes and patterns in the radiation coming from the alien vessels. What does it mean? She asked. Their shields operate on a frequency we might be able to disrupt, Dr. Han explained. Not enough to destroy them, but maybe enough to confuse their systems. Captain Song's tired face showed a small smile. That's a start. Around them, the underground facility buzzed with activity. Scientists from every country worked side by side. Old enemies now fought together for human survival. Russian and American experts shared secrets. Chinese and Indian engineers built equipment together. The threat from space had united humanity in ways no one thought possible. In a room nearby, Kim Junho sat surrounded by screens. His fingers flew over keyboards as he analyzed the alien fleet's movements. Military officers watched over his shoulder. There, Kim pointed. See how they reposition every 4 hours? Always the same pattern, always the same distance. An American general frowned. What does that tell us? It tells us they follow strict protocols, Kim said. No creativity, no adaptation, just math and rules. Kim had spent years creating artificial intelligence for video games. He knew how to spot patterns in computer behavior. The aliens moved their ships like a computer would, perfectly efficient but predictable. If we can predict their movements, Kim continued, we can find gaps in their defense. The general looked doubtful. These aliens crossed the stars to get here. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. And you think you can outsmart them because they follow patterns? Kim nodded. Sometimes the smartest people are the most predictable. They trust their intelligence too much. He looked at his screens. Besides, what choice do we have? On the Imperial flagship, Commander Jiwoo watched Earth's activities with growing concern. Her monitoring system showed unusual power surges across the planet. Satellites were being repositioned. Radio communications had increased dramatically. What are they doing? She asked her intelligence officer. Unknown, Commander, but they appear to be coordinating something globally. Commander Jiwoo narrowed her eyes. Could they be preparing a defense? The intelligence officer laughed. With their technology? Impossible. Even their most advanced weapons cannot penetrate our shields. Lieutenant Bayek, Jiwoo's second-in-command, stepped forward. Commander, I recommend we attack now. These humans are clearly not preparing for surrender. Commander Jiwoo considered this. The humans' behavior didn't match the Empire's predictions. That bothered her. In 200 planetary conquests, the Empire had never been wrong. No, she decided. We gave them 3 days. Breaking our word would show weakness. She turned to her crew. But increase monitoring. I want to know everything they're doing. Back on Earth, world leaders met virtually to hear the progress reports. We've modified 3,000 satellites to emit disruption signals, reported the head of the European Space Agency. If Dr. Han's theory is correct, they should interfere with the aliens' communications. China has repurposed our missile defense systems, said the Chinese premier. They won't penetrate alien shields, but they might distract their targeting systems. One by one, each nation reported their contributions. It wasn't much against such advanced technology, but it was something. The U.S. president looked grim. And what about evacuation plans? If this fails, there is nowhere to evacuate to, interrupted the Russian president. If Earth falls, humanity falls. We must succeed. Captain Song stepped forward. We've discovered something else. The alien ships emit a specific radiation signature. Our tests show it interacts strangely with Earth's atmosphere. Their weapons might not work as well here as they expect. This news caused excited chatter among the leaders. Dr. Han raised his hand for silence. Don't misunderstand. Their weapons will still devastate our cities, but they might be operating at 70 or 80% efficiency, not 100%. That small difference might give us a chance. In his private quarters, Grand Admiral Tejo reviewed the conquest plans. Soon, Earth would join the hundreds of worlds under Imperial control. The humans would provide resources, labor, and territory. Their culture would be absorbed. Their history would become a footnote in Imperial records. A chime sounded. Commander Jiwoo's face appeared on his screen. Report, Commander, he ordered. Admiral, the humans are showing unusual activity. Global. Coordination, power surges, satellite movements. Taejo waved dismissively. Let them make their futile preparations, it will make no difference. Yes, Admiral, but our intelligence on humans may be incomplete. Their behavior doesn't match our predictive models. Taejo's expression hardened. Are you questioning Imperial intelligence, Commander? Jiwoo bowed her head. No, Admiral, I merely suggest caution. Your concern is noted. Continue monitoring. The deadline approaches, prepare the demonstration strike. The screen went dark. Commander Jiwoo stood alone in her command room, troubled by a feeling she couldn't explain. In all her years of conquest, she had never felt uncertain until now. The second day was ending. Dr. Han stumbled to a cot in the corner of his lab. His body demanded sleep, but his mind kept working. Rest, said Captain Song, covering him with a blanket. You can't save Earth if you collapse. Dr. Han closed his eyes. Do you think we have a chance? He whispered. Captain Song was silent for a moment. We've always faced impossible odds. Our ancestors survived ice ages with nothing but fire and stone tools. They crossed oceans in wooden boats. Humans are good at doing the impossible. Dr. Han smiled weakly. I'll take that as a yes. As he drifted to sleep, Captain Song returned to the main room where Kim Junho was teaching military pilots new tactics. Forget everything you know about formation flying, Kim was saying. The aliens expect logic and efficiency. We need to be unpredictable, even random. Like flying drunk, joked one pilot. Like flying human, Kim corrected. Their computers will try to predict your movements based on optimal patterns. Don't be optimal, be human. Captain Song watched silently. So much depended on these desperate plans. The modified satellites, the disruption signals, the unpredictable tactics. Each alone would fail. Together, they might just have a chance. The third day dawned. Across Earth, people huddled around screens watching the alien ships. Many prayed. Some rioted. Others simply spent time with loved ones, fearing the worst. In the command center, Earth's military leaders gathered for final preparations. The satellites are ready, reported Dr. Han. On your command, they'll emit the disruption signal. Fighter squadrons are prepared, added Captain Song. They'll launch the moment the aliens make their move. Kim Junho sat quietly in the corner, running final simulations on his laptop. The results weren't encouraging, but they were better than nothing. High above Earth, Commander Jiwoo prepared the demonstration strike. A small, uninhabited island in the Pacific Ocean would be destroyed to show the humans the Empire's power. Target locked, reported her weapons officer, awaiting your command. Jiwoo hesitated. The humans' 3 days were up, but they had sent no surrender message, no communication at all. It was unexpected. Commander? Prompted Lieutenant Bayek. Shall we fire? Jiwoo nodded. Fire. On Earth, all eyes watched as a bright beam shot from one of the alien ships toward the empty island. This was it, the moment Earth would see what they were truly facing. But something unexpected happened. The beam seemed to flicker and weaken as it entered Earth's atmosphere. When it hit the island, the explosion was massive, but not as massive as the aliens had planned. In the command center, Dr. Han's eyes widened. Their weapons are affected by our atmosphere even more than we predicted. Kim Junho looked up from his computer. And now they've shown us exactly how they attack. Captain Song turned to the military leaders. It's time. Across Earth, modified satellites activated, fighter jets launched from hidden bases, and humanity prepared to show the Empire that Earth would not surrender. Not now, not ever. The Empire came to end Earth. We expected immediate human Grand Admiral Taejo stared at the weapons report in disbelief. The demonstration strike had only reached 60% of expected power. This had never happened before. Explain this, he demanded. The science officer looked nervous. Something in Earth's atmosphere interfered with our energy weapons, Admiral. The mixture of gases, the magnetic field, we're still analyzing it. Taejo slammed his fist on the console. Why wasn't this discovered before we arrived? No one answered. Imperial scouts had studied Earth from a distance, but they had not tested weapons in the atmosphere. It was a basic oversight, one that the Empire rarely made. It changes nothing, Taijo said finally. Our weapons at 60% are still far superior to anything the humans possess. Prepare the main attack fleet. On Earth, Dr. Han watched the readings from the alien demonstration strike with growing excitement. Their weapons are even less effective than we predicted, he told the gathered military leaders. And now we've seen exactly how their energy beams work. Can we block them? Asked a general. Dr. Han shook his head. No, but we can disrupt them further. He pointed to a complex diagram. The satellites are ready. When activated, they'll create an energy field that should reduce alien weapon efficiency by another 15–20%. Captain Song stepped forward. That still leaves them with weapons far stronger than ours. That's where Kim Junho's plan comes in, Dr. Han said. All eyes turned to Kim, who stood nervously before the world's most powerful military leaders. The aliens follow predictable patterns, Kim explained. Their ships move in perfect formation. Their attack sequences are mathematically optimized. He showed a simulation on the big screen. But that makes them predictable. He pressed a button, and the simulation showed human fighters flying in chaotic patterns, seemingly random but actually targeting specific weak points in the alien formation. They expect us to fight logically, Kim continued. We won't. We'll fight like humans. Unpredictably, creatively, even irrationally sometimes. The room was silent. Then one of the generals laughed. We're betting Earth's survival on being unpredictable? Kim nodded. Yes, because that's what makes us human. Commander Jiwoo was about to order the main attack when her sensors detected something strange. Earth's satellites were moving, repositioning themselves in a new formation. Then her communication systems began experiencing interference. What's happening? She demanded. The humans have modified their satellites, replied her technology officer. They're emitting some kind of disruption field, Lieutenant Bayek sneered. Primitive attempts to block our communications, it won't work. But the interference was getting worse. The carefully coordinated Imperial fleet began having trouble maintaining formation as communication delays increased. Impossible, Beck whispered. How could they know our communication frequencies? Jiwoo realized the humans must have analyzed their demonstration message and the weapons test. They had learned more about Imperial technology in 3 days than most conquered species learned in years. Launch fighters, she ordered. Begin the attack. Captain Song stood on the runway as pilots ran to their jets. These weren't the most advanced aircraft on Earth. Those were being saved for later. These first fighters were older models, modified, with Dr. Han's technology and loaded with special missiles. Remember your training, she told the pilots. Don't fly in formation. Don't follow standard tactics. Be unpredictable. The squadron leader nodded. Like Kim said, fly human, not by the book. Captain Song watched as the jets took off. Against the massive alien ships, they looked like toys, but they carried humanity's best hope. In the command center, Kim Junho directed the battle strategy. Screens showed the positions of every human fighter and every alien ship. He spoke calmly into his headset. Squadron 1, approach from multiple angles. Squadron 2, stay back until my signal. Remember, they're tracking your patterns, so don't create any. Dr. Han monitored the satellite network, making constant adjustments to maintain the disruption field. The field is holding, he reported. Alien weapons should be operating at reduced capacity. On screens around the world, people watched as Earth's first counterattack began. Commander Jiwoo watched in confusion as the human fighters approached. They weren't flying in any formation she recognized. Each jet seemed to follow its own random path. Target the lead fighters, she ordered. Which ones are the leaders? Asked her weapons officer. They're not flying in any recognizable pattern. Jiwoo frowned. Imperial targeting systems were designed to predict enemy movements, to calculate where ships would be before firing. But the human jets were flying erratically, making targeting difficult. Fire at will, she ordered. Use wide-beam weapons. The Imperial ships fired, massive energy beams cutting through Earth's sky. Some found their targets, vaporizing human jets. Instantly, but many missed, the beams passing harmlessly as the jets veered in unexpected directions. Then the human fighters fired their missiles. The Imperial ship's shields easily blocked them, but that wasn't the missiles' purpose. They exploded just outside the shields, creating clouds of special material that Dr. Han had developed. The material stuck to the shield energy, creating weak spots. "Our shields are experiencing fluctuations," reported Jiwoo's shield officer, panic in his voice. "The humans are using some kind of resonance technology." "Impossible," Jiwoo whispered. But she was watching it happen on her screens. Kim monitored the battle from the command center, adjusting tactics as the situation changed. "Squadron 2 now. Target the ships with weakened shields." The second wave of human fighters attacked, focusing on the ships where the first wave had created shield weaknesses. Some of their weapons actually penetrated, causing damage to Imperial ships. "We're hitting them," shouted someone in the command center. A cheer went up, but Kim remained focused. "Don't celebrate yet," he warned. "This is just the beginning." Dr. Han looked up from his console. "The disruption field is working better than expected. Their ships are having trouble communicating with each other." On the main screen, they watched as an Imperial ship fired and accidentally hit another alien vessel, when the target, a human fighter, suddenly changed course. "Friendly fire," Captain Song said with grim satisfaction. "Their targeting systems can't handle our unpredictable movements." On the Imperial flagship, Grand Admiral Tejo was furious. Reports of damaged ships were coming in from across the fleet. Human fighters were causing actual damage. It was unthinkable. "How is this possible?" he roared. "They are primitives." "Admiral," said his strategic officer cautiously, "the humans are not fighting according to any known tactical doctrine. Our prediction algorithms can't—" "I don't want excuses," Tejo cut him off. "Send in the main fleet. All ships. Crush them with overwhelming force." The battle continued for hours. Human casualties were high. Hundreds of pilots lost their lives. But they were inflicting real damage on the Imperial fleet. For every 10 human fighters lost, 1 alien ship was damaged or destroyed. In the command center, Kim worked tirelessly, adjusting tactics as the Empire adapted. Dr. Han's satellite network maintained the disruption field, though many satellites were being destroyed. Captain Song coordinated with air forces around the world, ensuring a steady stream of fighters joined the battle. As one nation's air force exhausted its resources, another took its place. "The main Imperial fleet is moving toward Earth," reported a radar operator. "Thousands of ships." The room grew quiet. They had bloodied the Empire's nose, but now the UI's real fight was coming. "Dr. Han," Captain Song said quietly, "is your other project ready?" Dr. Han nodded. "The shield disruptor is complete. But to use it, we need to get very close to their flagship. It has a limited range." Kim looked up from his screens. "I've been studying the Imperial flagship's movements. There's a pattern. Every 4 hours it repositions to the same coordinates, probably to optimize communication with the fleet." "So we can predict where it will be?" asked Captain Song. Kim nodded. "Yes. But getting close enough to use the disruptor would be a suicide mission." Captain Song's face was grim. "Then we need volunteers." Outside, the sky filled with Imperial ships. Earth's brief victory was about to be challenged by the full might of the Durrani Empire. And somewhere up there, Commander Jiwoo watched with growing concern as her certainty about this easy conquest crumbled with each passing minute. The Empire came to end Earth. We expected immediate human surrender. Part 4. The Unexpected Turn. The main Imperial fleet descended toward Earth like a storm of metal. Thousands of warships blocked the stars, their weapons charged and ready. On the surface, people looked up in fear as day turned to night under the shadow of alien ships. In the command center, Earth's leaders watched with grim faces. The first battle had given them hope, but now that hope faded as sensors showed the true size of the Imperial forces. "We hurt them, but there are too many," said a general. "We've lost too many fighters already." Dr. Han looked up from his computer. "The shield disruptor is our only chance now. If we can disable the flagship's shields, we might be able to target their command systems. I have the volunteers, Captain Song said quietly. She handed a tablet to the general. On it were names of pilots who had agreed to fly what everyone knew was likely a one-way mission. Kim Jun-ho stared at the tactical display. The flagship will be at these coordinates in 2 hours based on its movement pattern. He pointed to a spot in Earth orbit. That's when we need to strike. On the Imperial flagship, Grand Admiral Taejo paced the bridge. The initial human resistance had been surprising, but now his full fleet had arrived. Victory was certain. Begin the attack, he ordered. Target their major cities and military bases first. Commander Jiwoo hesitated. Admiral, if I may suggest, perhaps we should attempt communication once more. The humans have shown unexpected capabilities. They might be more valuable as allies than as conquered subjects. Taejo turned to her, eyes cold. The Empire does not make allies, Commander, it makes subjects. He stepped closer to her. Your concern for these primitives borders on treason. Jiwoo bowed her head. I merely suggest what might be most beneficial for the Empire. What's beneficial for the Empire is following orders, Taejo snapped. Prepare your ship for the main assault. Captain Song led the volunteer pilots to their aircraft. These were Earth's newest, fastest jets, modified with Dr. Han's technology. Each carried a piece of the shield disruptor. Only when all pieces were combined near the flagship would it work. You all know this mission has little chance of success, she told them, and even less chance of return. She looked at each pilot, in turn. Anyone who wants to back out, now is the time. No shame, no questions. No one moved. Our plan is simple, she continued. We approach from different directions, unpredictable paths like before. We meet at the designated coordinates when the flagship repositions. She pointed to a diagram. Once there, you activate your piece of the disruptor. If all 5 pieces activate together, it should create a field that will temporarily disable their shields. And then? Asked one pilot. Captain Song's face was grim. And then Squadron 3 attacks with everything they have. Around the world, people prepared for what might be their last day. Some prayed, some held loved ones close, others joined emergency response teams, ready to help when the attack came. In the command center, Dr. Han made final adjustments to the satellite network. Many satellites had been destroyed, but enough remained to continue disrupting Imperial communications and weapons. The network is at 60% capacity, he reported. It will have to be enough. Kim Jun-ho coordinated with military forces worldwide. Remember, he told them, unpredictability is our strength. Don't follow standard protocols. Change tactics randomly. Make human decisions, not logical ones. A general shook his head. Fighting illogically against superior forces. History's strangest battle plan. But it's working, Kim insisted. Their systems can't predict what they don't understand. Commander Jiwoo's ship took position for the attack. Her sensors detected unusual energy readings from Earth, but nothing that seemed threatening. The humans were still fighting, still resisting despite the hopelessness of their situation. Why do they continue? She asked aloud. They must know they cannot win. Lieutenant Bayek looked at her strangely. They are primitives, Commander. They don't understand their own limitations. Jiwoo wasn't so sure. In her many years with the Imperial fleet, she had seen dozens of species surrender. Most begged for mercy at the first show of force. These humans were different. They fought harder as the situation worsened. Her ship suddenly lurched to the side. What was that? She demanded. Energy surge from the planet, reported the science officer. It's affecting our navigation systems. Jiwoo checked her screens. All across, the fleet ships were reporting similar problems. The humans had found another way to disrupt Imperial technology. Captain Song's squadron approached the flagship from 5 different directions. Each jet flew a seemingly random path, changing course unpredictably, just as Kim had taught them. Keep it random, she reminded her pilots. Don't create patterns they can track. Imperial fighters moved to intercept them, but their targeting systems struggled with the erratic movements of the human jets. Energy beams shot past, missing their marks. Captain, Song checked her coordinates. The flagship was moving into position, right where Kim predicted it would be. 3 minutes until all 5 jets needed to rendezvous at the target point. Disruptor check, she ordered. Piece 1 ready, came the first response. Piece 2 ready, Piece 3 ready, Piece 4 ready. Captain Song nodded to herself. Piece 5 ready, prepare for final approach. On the Imperial flagship, Grand Admiral Taejo received urgent reports. 5 human fighters were approaching from different directions, evading all attempts to stop them. They're targeting this ship, Taejo realized. Maximum shields, shoot them down. The flagship's weapons fired, filling space with deadly energy, beams. 2 of the human jets exploded, their pilots and disruptor pieces lost. 3 humans still approaching, reported the weapons officer. Our targeting systems can't lock on them. Taejo slammed his fist on his chair. Impossible. They're using primitive aircraft. But the remaining human jets continued their approach. Flying patterns no Imperial pilot would ever attempt. Patterns no computer would ever predict. Captain Song watched as 2 of her pilots were killed. We can still do this, she told the remaining pilots. 3 pieces might be enough for a partial disruption. Her jet shook as an energy beam passed close by. Warning lights flashed in her cockpit. She was hit, but not badly enough to stop her. 30 seconds to rendezvous, she said. The 3 remaining jets converged on the flagship from different angles. Imperial weapons fired constantly but couldn't hit the wildly maneuvering human aircraft. Activate disruptors now. Captain Song ordered. 3 pieces of the disruptor activated simultaneously. A blue energy field expanded from each jet, the fields reaching toward each other. When they met, they combined into a larger field that washed over the flagship. On the flagship's bridge, systems began failing. Shields down to 40%, shouted an officer. Communications disrupted, weapon systems failing. Taejo stared in disbelief. How is this possible? In the command center, Dr. Han watched the readings from the flagship. The disruptor worked. Their shields are weakened. Kim Junho immediately gave the order. Squadron 3, attack now. The 3rd wave of human fighters launched, heading straight for the vulnerable flagship. Unlike the earlier jets, these flew in tight formation, all weapons targeted on the same spot. But before they could reach the flagship, something unexpected happened. Commander Jiwoo's ship moved into position, intercepting the human fighters. What is she doing? Kim wondered aloud. On her ship, Commander Jiwoo had made a decision. Target the human fighters, she ordered. Protect the flagship. Her weapons officer hesitated. Commander, our systems are affected by the disruption field too. We may hit the flagship. I'm aware of the risk, Jiwoo said. Fire. Her ship fired, destroying several human fighters. The remaining jets scattered, their coordinated attack broken. Captain Song saw what was happening. She's protecting the flagship, she told her pilots. We need a new plan. Then her radar showed something strange. Commander Jiwoo's ship was moving away from the flagship, drawing the human fighters after it. She's pulling us away? Captain Song was confused. Then she understood. Target her ship. Commander Jiwoo watched as the human fighters followed. Her ship away from the vulnerable flagship. Her actions would be seen as tactical, drawing enemy fire to protect the flagship. But she had another reason. These humans fought differently than any species the Empire had encountered. They were innovative, adaptable, unpredictable. The Empire should study them, not destroy them. Commander, Lieutenant Beck shouted. The humans are targeting us directly. Jiwoo nodded. As expected. Reduce shields on the lower quadrant. Reduce shields? But Commander, do it. The shields weakened just as the human fighters fired. Their weapons struck Jiwoo's ship, causing significant damage. Warning alarms blared across the bridge. Hull breach in lower decks, reported an officer. We're crippled, Commander. Jiwoo looked at her tactical display. The flagship was moving, away, its systems recovering. Her diversion had worked. But now she faced a new situation. Her ship was disabled, surrounded by human fighters. And for the first time in Imperial history, a commander would face the enemy not as conqueror, but as captive. Captain Song's fighter circled Commander Jiwoo's damaged ship. The alien vessel was 3 times larger than her jet, but now it floated helplessly in space, its engines silent, its weapons offline. "What do we do with it?" asked one of her pilots. Over the radio. It was a good question. No one had planned for capturing an alien ship. The mission was supposed to end with all of them dying while taking down the flagship. Captain Song made a quick decision. "We board it." "Board it? How?" She pointed her jet toward a damaged section of the alien ship. "There's a breach in the hull. We can enter through there." She switched to the command center frequency. "This is Captain Song. We've disabled an enemy vessel and are preparing to board." Dr. Han's voice came through, full of surprise. "Board? That wasn't part of the plan." "Plans change," she replied. "We have an opportunity to gain valuable intelligence." She didn't mention her other reason, that the alien commander had seemed to deliberately draw them away from the flagship, almost as if protecting Earth forces. In the command center, Dr. Han and Kim Junho exchanged worried looks. "This is too risky," Dr. Han said. "We don't know anything about the inside of their ships." Kim nodded. "But Captain Song is right. This is a chance we may never get again." He turned to a communications officer. "Tell her to proceed, but with extreme caution." On the main screen, they could see the Imperial fleet regrouping. The disruption to the flagship had been temporary. Already alien ships were moving into attack formation again. "We need something big," Kim said quietly. "Or Earth falls today." Commander Jiwoo ordered her crew to the escape pods as soon as the ship was hit. Most obeyed, but Lieutenant Bayek refused to leave. "I will not abandon my post," he insisted. "And I will not let you commit treason." Jiwoo looked at him calmly. "I've committed no treason, Lieutenant. I protected the flagship. By sacrificing our ship? By allowing us to be disabled?" Beck's hand moved to his weapon. "I've seen how you look at these humans, with respect. That is against Imperial doctrine." Jiwoo didn't deny it. "The Empire has conquered hundreds of worlds, Lieutenant, but we've never encountered a species like humans. They don't fight like we expect. They don't surrender when they should. They're interesting." Beck raised his weapon. "You are relieved of command, traitor." Before he could fire, the ship rocked violently. The human fighters had docked with the damaged vessel. Captain Song led her small team through the breach in the alien ship. The air was breathable, though it smelled strange. The corridors were wider and taller than human ships, designed for the slightly larger Dorani bodies. "Stay alert," she told her team. "We don't know how many aliens are still aboard." They moved carefully through the damaged ship, following what appeared to be main corridors toward what they hoped was the bridge. Their mission was simple: capture the alien commander and gain whatever intelligence they could about Imperial plans. They turned a corner and suddenly faced 2 Dorani soldiers. For a moment, both groups froze in surprise. Then everyone moved at once. The aliens raised their weapons. The humans ducked for cover. But before anyone could fire, a voice called out in perfect English, "Hold your fire!" Captain Song peered around. Her cover. A female Dorani in an ornate uniform stepped forward, hands raised. "I am Commander Jiwoo of the Imperial ship Swift Justice," she said. "I wish to speak with your leaders." On the Imperial flagship, Grand Admiral Taejo was furious. The human attack had been repelled, but at a cost. Several ships had been damaged, including Commander Jiwoo's vessel, which now appeared to be captured. "Destroy that ship," he ordered. "No Imperial vessel will be taken by primitives." "Admiral," protested his second-in-command, "Commander Jiwoo and her crew may still be alive." Taejo's eyes were cold. "They are already considered dead for allowing their ship to be captured. Now prepare the planet killer." The bridge fell silent. The planet killer was the Empire's most powerful weapon. capable of rendering a world uninhabitable. It was rarely used. Most species surrendered long before such measures were necessary. "Are you certain, Admiral?" asked the weapons officer. "The humans have fought bravely. Perhaps they have fought foolishly," Tejo interrupted. "And they will die for their foolishness. Begin charging the planet killer. Target their largest city first." In the command center, Dr. Han received an urgent message from Captain Song. "Dr. Han, I've captured the alien commander. She wants to talk." Dr. Han could hardly believe it. "Bring her in if you can secure her safely." "There's no time," Captain Song replied. "She says the flagship is preparing a weapon that can destroy entire cities. We need to act now." Kim Jun-ho joined the conversation. "Ask her how we can stop it." There was a pause, then Captain Song's voice returned. "She says the planet killer can only be stopped by disabling the flagship's main reactor. She's giving us the exact location and how to target it." Another pause. "She's also offering to transmit the flagship's shield frequencies. Our weapons won't penetrate otherwise." Dr. Han and Kim exchanged worried looks. "This could be a trap," Dr. Han said. "Or it could be our only chance," Kim replied. Captain Song watched Commander Jiwoo carefully. The alien commander had surrendered without resistance and was now helping them target the flagship's vulnerable spots. "Why are you doing this?" Captain Song asked. "Why help us?" Jiwoo looked at her with those strange alien eyes. "I've conquered many worlds for the Empire, Captain. Most species beg for mercy at the first show of force. But you humans?" She shook her head in what seemed like admiration. "You fought with creativity, with unpredictability. You found weaknesses in our technology that we didn't know existed." She pointed to a diagram of the flagship she had drawn. "Your species deserves better than extinction, and perhaps the Empire deserves to learn a lesson in humility." Lieutenant Bayek, now restrained by human soldiers, spat words in the alien language. Jiwoo ignored him. "The planet killer will be fully charged in 20 minutes, she continued. "You must disable the flagship before then." In the command center, Kim Jun-ho organized the final attack. Every remaining fighter jet, every missile, every weapon Earth had left would be focused on the coordinates Commander Jiwoo had provided. "If she's telling the truth," Kim said, "we have one chance to stop this planet killer." Dr. Han nodded grimly. "And if she's lying, we've lost nothing. We were losing anyway." Around the world, people watched their screens as Earth launched its final desperate attack. The remaining fighter jets, now using the shield frequencies provided by Commander Jiwoo, approached the flagship. This time, their weapons penetrated the shields. Explosions bloomed across the massive ship's hull, but the flagship was huge and the damage seemed minimal. "We need more power," Kim said desperately. Dr. Han looked at his computer, then at the satellite network diagram. "I can redirect all remaining power from the global satellite network into a single electromagnetic pulse. It might disrupt their systems long enough for our weapons to reach the reactor." "Do it," Kim ordered. Dr. Han's fingers flew over his keyboard. "This will fry our own communications network. We'll be in the dark." "Better dark than dead." Dr. Han nodded and pressed the final key. Across Earth, power systems surged as every bit of available energy was channeled through the remaining satellites. A massive pulse shot toward the Imperial flagship just as Earth's fighters fired their last missiles. The combined attack caught the flagship's crew by surprise. The electromagnetic pulse temporarily disabled their defenses. The human missiles, guided to the exact spot Commander Jiwoo had identified, struck the reactor housing. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a small explosion blossomed on the flagship's side. It grew larger, spreading along the massive ship. Secondary explosions followed as the reactor went critical. The Imperial flagship, pride of the Durrani Empire, began breaking apart. In orbit, above Earth, Grand Admiral Tejo watched in disbelief as his ship died around him. Warning alarms blared. Crew members ran for escape pods. "Impossible," he whispered, as the bridge erupted in flames. "They're just primitives." His last thought before the final explosion, was that perhaps the Empire had made a grave mistake in underestimating these humans. On Commander Jiwoo's damaged ship, Captain Song watched the flagship's destruction on a view screen. Beside her, the alien commander nodded in satisfaction. "Your planet is safe," Jiwoo said. "For now." "Will they send another fleet?" Captain Song asked. "Eventually, but not soon." Jiwoo turned to face her. "You've done something no species has done in 1,000 years. You've defeated an Imperial attack fleet. The Empire will need to reconsider many things." Captain Song studied the alien's face. "And you? What happens to you now?" "I've betrayed the Empire to save your world," Jiwoo said simply. "I can never go back." "Then stay, Captain," Song suggested. "Help us prepare for when they return. Help us understand your technology, your culture." Jiwoo seemed surprised. "You would trust me? After everything?" Captain Song smiled. "You're right that humans are unpredictable." 1 month later, Dr. Han, Captain Song, and Kim Junho stood with Commander Jiwoo on a hilltop overlooking the ocean. Below them, human scientists worked with Dorani crew members who had chosen to stay on Earth, studying salvaged alien technology. "The Empire came to end Earth," Dr. Han said thoughtfully. "Instead, Earth changed TE.